My ex's family thought I owed them an apology because I asked them to step outside my son's hospital room so that he could get dressed in private, and when they got mad I asked them what if the roles were reversed. My son Loren, 9M, had his appendix removed this morning. He had a basic understanding of the surgery, but the only hang-up he had was having to wear nothing but a hospital gown. No socks or underwear. When we got to the hospital room to get him prepped, he told his mom/my ex and her sister/his aunt to turn or to leave when he had to undress. Obviously he was fine with my being there and needed help. After the surgery, me, my ex, her sister, her 13-year-old niece and my 18-year-old son were in the recovery room. He were waiting for Loren to sober up and get discharged. He started to come to and whispered to me that he wanted to put clothes on because wasn't comfortable wearing nothing but a gown in front of 3 girls. At that same time, a female nurse came in to get his vitals and was talking to my ex. I asked if they could all step outside so I could help Loren get dressed. They looked bewildered at my request. The nurse then said she'd help me dress him because my son was still a bit weak. I said no, thanks. My teen son will help out. She asked if I was serious by asking her to leave over this and I said yes. My son doesn't feel comfortable getting dressed in front of 4 females. The nurse said she's been a nurse for years and has heard of anything crass. I said you're comfortable, my son isn't, and you're being insensitive is what's crass and clueless. My ex said I was being dramatic. They left and me and my other son got him dressed. My ex called me and said that I owe her and everyone else an apology. I refused. I said if the roles were reversed then you'd have a very different opinion. Also Loren has to take a bath for the next few days and she was crazy if she was expecting Loren to let her wash him or even be in the bathroom with him. It's different with me or his brother or friends and I don't have to convince her for me to be right. For the record, the gown he was wearing was made out of paper. It wasn't even cloth. My son was dying to get out of it. He was basically naked. I don't think my son would have minded a male nurse at all, but since me and my older son was there, the thought of requesting a male nurse didn't cross my mind. I don't know if they had a male nurse available at that moment because the nurse made a comment that they were short-staffed but all qualified. I wasn't going to argue with her over who got to put on my son's Minecraft underwear or zipped his hoodie. It's a waste of my time. She did mention how she didn't want him to get hurt with my dressing him and I said then you best let me handle it because he'll fight you. Update. I did have to take him back to the hospital this morning because he couldn't pee but had to. He was in a lot of pain. At the hospital, I asked if a nurse was going to see my son before or after his male doctor and they said yes. I asked for a male and they said they'd ask the head nurse. She asked why it was so important to have a male nurse. I told her we can schedule an appointment to fight over it after my son sees the doctor. They did find a male nurse and my son was totally relaxed around him. The male nurse said a lot of female nurses take it personal when patients ask for a male nurse and it's always been that way. Fortunately my son didn't need a catheter and is fine.